everybody, how you guys doing? It's Monday. Hope you all had a great holiday, great weekend, and we are off to the races. Here we go. Okay. I wanted to show how to use a magazine or a advertisement that you get in the mail. You know, you get like all these catalogs or advertisements or whatever in the mail. How you can make them into your own art journal. For those who do not have money to buy an art journal, who don't want to make an art journal, you know, all whatever. So I've been planning on doing this for a while. Then my friend Carol wrote me, I believe it's Carol Roper Moyer, or it's Carol Moyer Roper, and it's one of those, and she'll forgive me because she knows. But she had written me yesterday and said, you know, have you ever seen those magazines at the grocery store or whatnot that are like from realtors? And she means like, you know, like when you're walking out of a store and they have like where the realtors put like all the houses for sale and all those, and they have all those magazines and stuff there, restaurants. Ours has all kinds of ones and they're free. She said that she had picked some up and that she had was making an art journal out of that. So I thought, I told her I'd planned on showing this, but I thought, wow, you know, that's even, you know, greater. If you go to the grocery store, you can pick up a couple and make them free. So that's another option for you. I think it's wonderful and great. I get Rolling Stone. I get a couple magazines in the mail. I am constantly getting, at holiday time, especially, I've been getting so many catalogs and everything. And why throw them away? Why not? I love to recycle. Why not recycle them? So I'm not going to mess up Eminem's face because I like it. And although this might not be very politically correct, I'm a Charles Manson freak. Don't ask, don't tell, don't anything. I love serial killers. I don't love them. I don't love what they do. I love what makes them tick is what it is. And that's a whole other discussion. I've been like this since I was 12 years old. I am not a serial killer in any way. I do not condone violence. I do not condone what they do. But, so this one I won't be messing up. But however, I have a lot of things to get to, so we won't discuss my Charles Manson thing anymore. But what you can do now, this has a little thicker paper than I'm sure some do, like the catalogs. But something to keep in mind for when you're going through your catalogs and everything like that. We're going to be doing a few things. So I saw a few things on Pinterest and I thought this is going to be awesome for our next journal page. So when you see faces around this size, don't worry about her hair. Cut it out. Cut out just this face. Okay? Or his face. A little hairy, but that's fine. If you can find a younger face or a smaller face, do that too. You know, like this little face here. It doesn't matter, boy or girl or whatever, but just cut out some faces, you know, some things that we can do. But what you would do is, you would take, like I told you before, you would take your glue stick, your Mod Podge, Collage Podge. I would take Elmer's glue and water it down, you know, so it was a little bit more spreadable. And I would put it all over this page. I would take this page back. I would seal it. And then I would take those pages and move on to the next. If you want to do 3 pages, put 3 pages together. This is a very thick magazine, so, you know, 3 pages won't hurt you. It'll be stronger, and then the more you build up on it with gesso, with paper, with whatever, you got this fantastic journal that you make, right? And there's like I said, you know, like her little face right here, but we're, you know, or weird pictures, animals, Miley Cyrus smoke, you know, whatever. We're just going to pick out some pictures and do some things. Like this is something really cool, you know, that we could use. I always have like I'm not going to get into my whole thing here, but anyway, would I like to cut him out? I'd like to do other things with him. However, not cutting him out, you know what I'm saying. Okay, we shall continue. But anyway, words. I love to cut out words because get an envelope, if you have a yellow envelope, you know, one of the bigger yellow envelopes or just a regular envelope or a folder or whatever, I love going through magazines that I'm not going to read or catalogs and cutting out words, because then you can start making sentences and putting them on. Do you know what I mean? Like on headlines, A Nightmare in Brooklyn. These are all different words that you can use. Midnight is exactly that. And like I said, you will be surprised to go through a magazine, cut out all these different words, and then the things that you can make, little quotes, little sayings, just a word, like do a spread that say more on the darker side. You know, I like my darker art, and just put the word midnight on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, just really, like this face right here. We'll leave Bruce Springsteen alone. I'm not really into him. So you guys get the drift of what I'm talking about. So this eye, how freaking fantastic is this eye? It's a freaking fantastic eye. So I might scan that in and use that. And if you don't want to rip out, then just, if you have a printer like I do that you can scan in. But I mean, you can do Catching Fire, you know, the Hunger Game. Yeah, I mean, there's the Clash. He doesn't like the Clash. So Good, Moonshine. I mean, Behind Bar. Like, there are just words everywhere. And like I said, if you cut them out, and there's Eminem with some, I guess they're pigeons, and he's liking the pigeons. Hi, little pigeons. Don't know why, because if that pigeon was on me, I'm sure it would shit on my shoulder, as well as the one up here, and shit on my head. I'm always getting shit on by animals. I thought it was good luck, but apparently it's not. Rush. Who does not love Rush? But I mean, what a great word to cut out. Do you know what I'm saying? And use on a great painting or art journal. So you're understanding kind of what. And then there's the Abbott brothers. And then there's Manson. What a face. Gotta read. I haven't read that article yet. I know he just got married. I guess that his new life. Okay, this isn't time for me to discuss Charles Manson. But I mean, look at this cool picture. So always look through your catalogs, your magazines, whatever, if you get them in the mail. There is a place, I think it's called freemagazines.com or something. And you can go on and order... you can order free. This is how I got this. It's, you know, you can order free magazines. I get Women's Day. I get, you know, plus Women's Day is like 99 cents. All those, like, you know, I can't recall their names right now. They're 99 cents. So you can definitely use these, glue the pages together. I'm sorry. I didn't look at that magazine yet. And as I'm talking to you, I'm looking through. Okay. Second thing. Okay. Okay, Molly Warren, I wrote down. I took care of that and sent her papers. So, Molly, you should have those papers on your Gmail. Let me know to make sure. She wants me to do a CAD. Now, I'm thinking it's a card a day. I don't know what a CAD is. I was like, card a day. Like, I'm not I'm not a card maker. So, and I don't have any card videos on here. So I'm not real sure what a CAD is. So if you guys could leave me in the comments, anybody, Molly or anybody, let me know what a CAD is. Then maybe I could do one. I think she asked for one a week or whatever. Let me know what they are. And then I can find out what they are and then do them, because I don't know what, honestly. When I looked up CAD, I thought card a day. Is that what she means? A card a day? And then I looked it up, and then it was computer stuff, and then I don't know. So somebody let me know what that is. And Erica Grasmick asked for me to do gears in the bendable clay to show how to do it, and I will be doing that probably by the end of this week for you. I also, for some reason, cannot comment back to you. I don't know why. I try, and then it says that I'm blocked from commenting back, and I think we're friends on Google. I don't know all their new rules and thought and what they do. So, Erica, if you didn't hear back from me, then I will be doing the gears in the bendable clay for you probably by the end of the week. So that is where we're at there. Then I got asked to show how to make it's called something, Harlequin, like a Harlequin stencil type thing. And I did one where, and not very well because I didn't measure it out and take my time. If you take your time and measure it out, that's one thing. You can do it in foam, but if you do it in foam and draw it with a pen or a knitting needle like I used, when you stamp it, you're going to get the outside of the ink coming in. Okay, as you can see. Let me move you down. Let me turn my computer so I can see. Okay. So that's one way you can do it, is just take your foam, because anything you draw on your foam will then, go on your, and you would have to be very careful on how you inked it up to not get it in the extra things. But what you would do is essentially just start with your triangle and then just keep, going down. And as you do it, you'll see it makes its own triangles, like in between. Let's just show you when I'm done here. Yeah, and that's a way you can do it, but you're not going to get a clear thing as a stencil. So that's one way, and that's just to show everybody whatever. All right, I think I'm done with this. Gears. Okay. So what I did was, and not very well, when you cut this, you have to do it in a, that, like, to me, this would be fine. But for what you're doing, or if you're more particular, or you're more of a perfectionist, which y'all know I'm not, what I did was, and I'll show you the mistake I made, but what I did was I folded my paper in half, and then I started cutting out my triangles. And what the trick is if you see in between, you want to leave a little bit of connection right there on each one. You don't want to cut that off, okay? Because if you cut it off, this is what happens. They separate. And this is just a piece of printer paper. I was testing my printer out because I put new ink in it. So you can see if you don't leave those connected, like over here, then right down here, I didn't leave them connected, So that's what happened. So what I did was I took a piece of just printer paper, did it in half. I did my cuts, okay? And you want to leave that little boopy, it's a corner, you know what I mean? You get it, it stays on there. And then what I did was I folded it in half again. And then I did it again, and I cut out. And like I said, you can take your ruler and you can measure how big you want them to be if you're wanting them to be like even in particular. And if you want them to be, so far, you can mark to where you want the lines to be. But then I folded it in half, I cut. I folded it in half again, I cut again. Then I opened it up, okay? And then in between here was nothing. Like, it was just regular paper. So I had 3 rows. So what I did was then I folded it in half to where that paper was. And then I cut out again. Okay. So when you opened it, you have this one, this one, this one, and this one. So then I would go to this one where we have nothing. I would fold it in half. Now remember, this would be connected. You want to make sure that they stay like that. And you want to fold this in half. You want it to be fairly, and you fold it in half. And you take your scissors, smaller or better, and you just start cutting. You cut your triangle up that way, and then you cut your triangle down this. And these aren't going to be perfect. Like I said, you sit and cut and make them perfect. It literally takes 5 minutes. Make sure you leave that little boopy there so it stays together. And you can make them as big, as small. I've looked them up, and they make them big and small all in the same stencil. I mean, it's you're designing your own stencil. And I'm just using printer paper if you want to use, and make sure you make your fold good. like tight. You can use, you know, stencil paper that you want, like a real stencil piece of plastic. You can use whatever you want. I'm just using, you know, it depends on how often you're going to use it. Once you do this and you're happy with it, I would seal it with like a white glue or a Collage Podge, Mod Podge, white glue, gel medium, whatever you have, white paint, just to make it a little sturdier. And then I just have it go off the edge there. And then when you open it, literally sitting here, it takes no time at all. So then if you want this to be, you know, you want that too, you just fold it and do the same thing, and you fold it and do the same thing, and you have it. Now, I'll use it on this little piece of paper. I'll take my ink pad, just because that's what I have. Probably not going to work that great because it's my ink pad and not using I don't know if yeah, I do have a spray, so I'll spray over there. But let me just show you with the ink pad, which you would do much better than me. This is so easy to do and so much. It literally will take you like 5-10 minutes while you're sitting here. All right. And let me just lift up. I'm going to throw that away. And you see that you get your different, you know, your Harlequin, I call them diamonds. They're called Harlequin. So if you want them closer, you just cut them closer. But like I said, you know, spend the extra minute to take the time to make them more the size you want, if that's what you want, to make them more uniform. To me, it doesn't matter. I don't care. You can make them thinner by cutting them thinner, you know, so you wouldn't draw the line as long. You would draw it like half that size and half that's, you know what I mean? You would make them smaller to make them thinner, whatever. But that's how I do it. I make my own stencils. I buy a lot of stencils, and like I said, this works with ink, and it works with you know, my regular pad. I didn't even use anything, you know. You could use paint, stencil brush. You can use sprays. You can use you know, whatever you want, and that's what you get out of it. So I mean, that's out of a piece of printer paper. You just, you know, if you do that, and like I said, you preserve it by putting some sort of coat of it would be a varnish. It would be what it would be called, but it would be Mod Podge, or this must be a worn out paper towel that ain't gonna work. You know, Mod Podge, Collage Podge, gesso, white paint, anything to make it a little bit more sturdy. But you can make your own very easily. So I hope that helped you. And her name escapes me right now. Lisa, I believe. Yes, Lisa. And so I hope that helps you somewhat. And like I said, you can always take the second to you know, take a little bit more time than I did, make them more uniform. You can make your paper smaller, cut your paper in half, and then fold it and do it so you have a smaller area to work with, and then these will become smaller, they'll become closer. So really, it takes nothing. Okay, so I hope this helped you. Let me know. This is great to do, to make your own stencils when you need them. It takes nothing to do, hardly anything to do with it. So that is that. And who knows, maybe we'll use that in something. Okay, now our next thing is sent to me from Arthritis and Me. And these are paper ornaments. And no paint that she uses, when they're not treated, will go on them. So I decided, I treated 2 of them. Let me get one. I'm going to use watercolor, and one I'm going to use, one watercolor, and then one I'm going to use acrylic paint on. So let's do the greens. And I'm just going to, always when you're doing watercolors, give them a squirt, wet them first. We'll do the tree. The tree was treated with Collage Podge, Mod Podge, whatever. So I just threw a coat of the Mod Podge on it. It's clear. It's nothing. It's not going to, you know, bother nothing. And I'm just going to take a paintbrush and wet it. And I want it to be kind of wet because it's going to be in watercolor. And I'm going to go in with light green first. So all I did was threw Mod Podge on here and left it dry. These are beautiful. These they're paper ornaments. And I'll leave the star alone. And let's see. And this is watercolor, so it's going to be more of a watercolory look. It's not going to be the same as if you use, I always start lightest to dark with colors. It's not going to be the same as if you use acrylics or sprays or anything to that effect. But I'm just going to paint on. And also using the Mod Podge seals it so it doesn't, because the paper is obviously going to absorb any kind of moisture that you put on this. And you could put 2 coats on. I only did 1. And I would probably, if you have a hairdryer or a heat gun, for a minute, I would probably just give it a quick dry so it doesn't get oversaturated, because even though it's protected with the Collage Podge or Mod Podge, I call them, but they're both the same to me. It'll just take a little bit of the moisture out. And then we'll go to the next color, which I'm going to do a little darker green. And like I said, you want to really spray these and leave them sit for like 3 minutes with the water on them, because it really does help. Any watercolors that you use that are in containers like this, whether it's Crayola or whatever, because and Crayola watercolors would work the same, you know, any kind of watercolor that you have. I mean, look at the vibrancy. And I'm just going to randomly brush it on. And if you have a little, like little divots or whatever, and it's not quite going through. Now, if you want some of that light green to show through because you want highlights, I mean, look how beautiful that's coming on. You can take your paper towel, just a quick paper towel, just give it a blot to lift up, you know, and you see how it lifts. I mean, it's kind of hard to see on my camera, but it lifts up some of that dark green that I just put on, so you have more of a look to it. Now, I'm going to rinse my brush. I'm going to go into the next color. I have these 3 greens here. And I'm going to go into the darkest color I have here of my green. Now, 1 color will be sufficient. You don't have to do all that I'm doing. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it upside down, and I'm just going to very lightly brush it up. And then I'm going to take it and I'm going to go around. Well, you know what? I might not. I'm going to do something different just because I like being a little different. And if you see a little bit of the outside of the tree on here, like as you turn it, you'll see like a little bit, like, you know, because we have the outside of it. I see a little hole. It's always good to turn whatever artwork you're doing upside down when you're painting, because you'll see things, especially if you're painting something, because you'll see things that you normally wouldn't see because you're looking at it a different way. And if you want a little bit more of the light through it, just hit up a little bit of the light and just touch. You don't want to make it muddy, so just be careful of that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my yellow here that I know I've I sprayed. I'm going to get it, and I'm going to start with my star. And I'm just going to do my star yellow, but I might put a little gold glitter on there, or glitter glue or something. But for right now, we're just going to leave the star yellow. Okay, and while that sits there for a second, I'm going to grab my I'll just use this red. Don't worry about doing that. I'm going to spray my red. Give it a second. And I'm going to spray my, because I'm a color freak, but I'll just spray, what's color? One second. I'm sorry, guys. It's my daughter. She's leaving work. Okay. So now let's take some red and go around. Now when I sealed this, which is essentially what you're doing, I sealed these outside parts too. And you just run your, this is just watercolor. Remember, I'm doing it all in watercolor, and I'm going to do the whole outside of this in watercolor. And that includes the back. You know, I'm not going to do the back on camera, but that includes the back. This is just going to be its like outside. Make the tree pop. And you can make these in so many different ways. I've so many live shows where I've made, I don't know if I have any videos though, where I've used my blender with all extra paper, and I've made my own paper. I've made all kinds of stuff with it, and it's so much fun. These are fun. I think these came in a mold like kit for her. But I love doing these, like making things. And make sure you hit the sides. You know, so it's like all the way around, you know, just take your time. I'm on camera, so I'm not going to take all my time to do that. You know, if you get a little bit on your green tree, no worries. Okay. And then for the bottom part, maybe I'll just do a little brown just to... Now see, I should have dried my red first. I made my brown a little wet. So I could just take my paper towel in there, soak up that extra color, no big deal. I didn't spray my brown, so my water had to come from my brush. So it makes it a different kind of, makes it watered down a little bit. In about 10 minutes, that brown will be beautiful. But I didn't spray it. But you get the point. You get the idea. And that is with watercolor. And then what I would do is seal it with a spray sealer, or if you don't have a spray sealer, you really don't have to, seal it with anything actually. But if you want to, you can spray, you know, a clear coat of something on it, or do another coat of Mod Podge over it if you want. Remember, it's watercolor. It's not like a permanent. It's going to reshift. You can use your... which I'll show you in a minute. But so we're going to set him over there, let him dry while we work on this with some acrylics. And what I'm going to do is, let's see. I don't know if I'll do the whole thing on here. It's going to still take me a while, but I'm going to take some yellow acrylic paint. I sealed this one with Elmer's glue. I squirted it on my mat. I gave it 3 spritz of my bottle, mixed it around, sealed it. Let's see what it does. Much more vibrant than the watercolor. But the watercolor itself, much bigger brush than I really need. The watercolor itself has a great effect. So it depends on what effect you're looking for. Like I said, I'm not going to do the whole thing here because so know that the watercolor one that we just did, if you did acrylics on and you used your Mod Podge to seal it, it'll definitely work. This is just Elmer's white glue. How much cheaper can you get? And we all have it, any kind of white glue. It doesn't have to be Elmer's. But, and we all have it sitting around. It is a great sealer. And it's also great for polymer clay when you, let's see now. Let me do this real quick on here. See, we did the star with, I mean, look how nice that is. That goes on there real nice. I would probably dry the different colors before I start going on. But the red's mixing a little bit, just making a little bit of orange. I don't care. But that goes on there beautifully. Okay, and then you just take your finger and you know, wipe off where you went. And then once it's dry, you can go over it again with the colors that you want. So that's beautiful, and that's watercolor. And like I said, that's a whole different thing. But there, you know, we got the bow. It's on there. We'll do a little bit of, I'm going to do a little bit of orange around the bow and then blend it with a little bit of water just to give it like a little bit of standout-ish on the one side. Wipe my brush. Let me just spray. I do that all the time, spray water on my mat. And it's okay if you get on other white spots because you can, you know, you're going to go over it with different colors. And then just take your brush over and you can continue. And it just blends. Just add some dimension to it. I can sit and paint these all day. These are like, not so much, I don't mean mindless in a bad way. It's just that these are things that I wet your brush if you need to, just a little bit. You want to keep as much water off of this as you can. I mean, with the watercolors, you know, that's why you wet your palette. Now, see, what I like to do is this. And then I'll dab it with my, I'll just put a little orange going in there to make it blend. What I'll do is I'll dab it with my, I get so caught in the moment, with my rag and just push down on it. And then once it's dry, I'll go over again with the yellow acrylic paint. If I'm like if it's a little too dark for me, you know, like with the orange, I'll just go over it a little bit more with like the little bit of the yellow paint, and you know, just to have that orange in the background, just to make it pop a little bit, and it's wonderful. And this is acrylic paint. Now, there's leaves in here. Green, green, green. I will do a green leaf very quickly, so you can see with the acrylic paint, and then maybe I'll do one with the, since I think I have a green watercolor paint. But look how easy it goes on. And all this was brushed with the Elmer's glue. And then you can go back on the veins with the darker green or with a marker and give it all its detail when they're done. How beautiful. These are beautiful. And remember, if you want to do a second coat, do it. But I think with these homemade, like with the paper and all, like the more, I don't want to say nature, but the more, not unrealistic, I don't know what I mean. You know, you just want it to be beautiful. You don't need it to be so bold all the time. Having a few of them very bold, like I think this one would be a great one to paint the background and then paint this like wicked bold, like, and then gloss it up when it's done. because it would look like a ceramic piece. I love that look. I think it's great. So I think to be able to make, like Susan had sent me this, a snowman to try out. This one's beautiful. This would be another one. The ones that have like the fewest things on them, even like the snowman, because you're only doing white and it's only going to have certain colors, to make them like super glossy is awesome. The tree, like I said, the watercolor to it, and you know what I mean? Like they're beautiful. The acrylic, of course. Now, if I'm using matte acrylic, but if you have glossy acrylic at home, by all means, it'll work just the same. But that is one with acrylic paint. And let's see our green. And this is going to be watercolor. Now you see the acrylic paint went on fine on the other one that had the Mod Podge on it. This is just Elmer's glue mixed with a little bit of water. My brush is kind of small. And honestly, the color on here, it even is a little brighter than on there. And this is watercolor. But the what I put down is different. A different and you can just go on and on and on. So that is my experiment. You have watercolor. This was sealed with Mod Podge, Collage Podge, whatever you want. And that came out beautiful. You can even highlight when it's completely dry with markers. If you have Sharpies or any kind of permanent or even water, markers, whatever, you can definitely highlight. I would take glitter glue, a yellow glitter. I'm sorry, my finger. I would take like some glitter glue and put it on here. I might take some glitter glue and put like little balls on here like it's a Christmas tree and decorate it up a little bit if you wanted to, or just leaving it like this is perfectly fine. It covered beautifully. It's beautiful. And then here is the acrylic paint, which colored beautifully too. Not a dang thing wrong with it. It didn't soak in. And like I said, if I had more time, I would sit and go through all of them. So I hope I answered your questions. Email me and let me know if any of these are good for you. The last thing I do want to try, and I don't know if you have or you don't have. I see acorns on there. Let me maybe do an acorn. Let me take my Derwent and I'm going to use a watercolor pencil. And these are two acorns near each other. Rinse out my brush, dab it off, just on the corner. And you can use your watercolor pencils too. Once they're sealed like that. You should use a smaller brush and not be like me. But there you go. So I hope all these worked. You guys are happy with, what you guys asked me to show you and what I showed you. And like I said, I could sit there and color these all day. But they both work. This is sealed with just Elmer's white school glue. Any kind of school glue will do. I squirted on here, did 3 pumps. I did 3 pumps of the water. I stirred it up and just sealed it. Left it dry for a half hour. On here, I did this. That was the Elmer's glue. On here, I did regular Mod Podge. or a Collage Podge. Oh my god, my phone's going nuts. And sealed it, left them both dry for a half hour, and I got great results. So I'm thrilled. I think they came out great. And like I said, once they're all dry, another half hour, or you can use your heat gun. I would go in and I'd take, my marker and glitter and just kind of like jazz them up a little bit. And then there's certain ones, like I said, like this one where I would just, I might even seal it and just use my markers on because it's just so beautiful. So I don't know. I don't know. But that's where we're at today. So I hope you guys enjoyed this very long video. Be on the lookout for the lips video where I'm going to show you a few different ways to draw lips. I got a couple of requests for that. And I think that's all. I think that's all with this that I wrote down that I had to take care of. So on to the next list of things and requests. And I hope you have a great day. Be kind to each other. You never know what battle somebody else is fighting. Any questions, just to email me. I will show whatever I can. I have a list, and I will do my best to get to your question and your answers. Some of you guys who leave me comments, if I don't comment back, it's because it doesn't allow me. For whatever reason, it doesn't allow me to comment back on some of the comments. I don't know why. It doesn't leave me an option. I don't know if we have to be friends on Gmail or Google Plus or whatever it is, or you're not on Google Plus or something on my end. I don't know. But there are quite a few of you that leave. I try to write your names down and then mention you in a video hoping that you watch it so you know I'm not ignoring you. So Arthritis and Me, let me know if this was helpful to you at all. And if you would like to see any other, that's why I saved the other 3. If you would like to see any other thing used on these that you had in mind or that you were trying and it didn't work out, but I did watercolor and acrylics, and I sealed them first with a very inexpensive Elmer's glue all, multi-purpose school glue, white school glue, and then the other one with Mod Podge in case you have either one. It works fantastic. Look how beautiful the watercolor one looks. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. And like I said, the acrylic, if I had the time to sit right now and do it all, and I might do it later, just sitting and then showing the finals. One of these videos is during the week, but it's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. And on the back here, I sealed it. I didn't color it, but all you got to do now that you did the red, or if you're following what I did, anybody, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure I get all the sides and then put the red on the back. And I mean, this is gorgeous. These are gorgeous to put on a package for somebody. Wrap a ribbon around them and put on a package, like to and from. These are just beautiful to hang on the tree, to do all kinds of stuff with. So thank you so much. Let me know if I answered your questions. Let me know if you have any more questions about things that I answered. And I hope you all have a fantastic day. And I shall see you again soon. Be kind to each other. You never know what battle somebody else is fighting. We all know that. Please try to live by that and go out and take those catalogs and stuff from your grocery stores and your pharmacies and Walmart and everywhere you go so you can make your own homemade journals. And if you have any questions about them, let me know. And if you can't make your own handmade journal, people are making them out of cereal boxes and all kinds of cool things. So let me know. So I will talk to you later. Bye, guys.